Previously, in Zero to Hero, before the Season 3 of The War Within started, I leveled 4 tanks. I've never tanked Mythic Plus before. I wasn't sure which tank to prioritize in gearing. When the dolls were available, I filled the vault on all 4 tanks. I decided to give a bit more priority to Paladin. I completed 6 M0s. When the season started, I decided to focus on Paladin. I started learning in plus dungeons one by one. From a normal run, to learn the route slowly, to up to plus 6 or plus 7. Then, I would start learning the next dungeon. I've done it in Floodgate, suffered in Echo Dome, and relaxed in the Dawnbreaker. I've made lots of mistakes, in rotation, in movement, dying a couple of times. I had to fight procrastination, anxiety, and fear. But with each dungeon run I got more confident. The rotation and survivability are much better now. And in this episode I opened the vault with only one item in there. I learned a new dungeon, Halls of Atonement. After a lot of time I spent resisting going into there, but one of my viewers asked me to go to Halls next, so that he could learn from me. I ran the dungeon on normal twice, and I attempted the dungeon on Mythic Plus. Was this dungeon really that tough? And did I manage to time a plus 7? Stick around till the end to find out. Thanks so much for all the subs, likes and views, it really keeps me going. I only had time to run 3 dungeons last week due to my vacation, so I only had 1 slot in the vault. It actually turned out alright, a great trinket and on top of that with avoidance. Unfortunately, I'm far away from running plus 10 dungeons, so the trinket is here a track. For some reason, I didn't want to go to halls. A couple of weeks ago, I did M0, but it didn't leave a good impression on me. I procrastinated a lot, resisted, but in the end, I thought I could do it. I watched a video guide on boss's abilities. I set the dungeon difficulty to normal and started looking at the route in MDT. The good thing is that this is a dungeon from an old expansion, meaning in normal everything has HP as it was back then. I pretty much one-shot every mob and boss. Slowly, one pack after another, I progressed through the dungeon. I didn't like the mobs that are running in fear even before they're pulled. The first part of the dungeon is not straightforward. I had a hard time memorizing the pulls. The key point in this dungeon is to get to the second boss, with a specific count %, because after the second boss, the mobs are very limited. Having completed the normal run, I felt like I needed to do it once more. I didn't memorize it at all. I felt the same after the second normal run, but decided to get into a +2. A note to the key holder that I'm a new tank. No pull timer and the key owner started the dungeon. I found the start of the dungeon a bit awkward, with the 2 mobs running and the patrol. I didn't have enough threat, so while I was getting the other mobs, the patrol killed someone. And I also pulled the gargoyle, which sent me flying just like an M0. The first 2 pulls are very easy to memorize. In the second pull there is one small lad that tends to run away, but I managed to catch him with a taunt. In the middle of the third pull I opened MDT. I wasn't sure what to pull next. It felt like the mobs did 0 damage to me. I didn't even want to use the free heal procs, but I should have, for the block chance anyway. In between pulls, where I have a couple of seconds, I open MDT. This area seems a bit complicated for now. It's kinda hard to get them all together. Lots of casts are not kicked. The small mobs running in fear is the worst thing about this dungeon. It pulled the gargoyle. We got 3 mini bosses down and should have enough anime. I pulled the small lads and a couple of casters to the boss. I was a bit confused. I thought killing the 3 mini bosses should be enough, but the boss is not active. I didn't know what to do. Only later I would figure out that it takes some time for the anime part to get filled up. This is how you should not start this boss, when all your teammates are far away from it. I noticed that I'm moving the boss too much. I didn't know when the intermission started, so after each boulder I moved him the hell away from it. I also needed, according to the route, to pull small lads to the boss. The boss is very far away from him. No issues with the boss. My movement was terrible, also I didn't like pulling the small lads to it. This part of the dungeon is pretty straightforward. This pull is even without any casters. One of the most complicated things this dungeon is to not body pull gargoyles, which we failed a couple of times. We're approaching the last pack before the second boss. It's a bit annoying to wait for 20 seconds before the gargoyles go back to sleep, so that we could skip them. The only difficulty with this boss is if a player that is targeted by the boss's jump is not placing it on the ads. I open MDT to refresh my memory and I pull the mobs to the side. The ads before the third boss and the boss himself is extremely easy. And here comes the most annoying thing in this dungeon. With low DPS, it's a 2-minute fighting against a target dummy that heals. I dodged the columns like a professional on the last boss. And with that, we timed the +2 dungeon. I got more confidence, but still, the route is not 100% memorized. I got some pens, finally can replace my green ones. I decided not to skip any level difficulties and got into a +3. I don't know how to get the mobs with crossbows into a pack without a DK grip. This run we also pulled an extra gargoyle. I tell my party to wait for gargoyles. One of the mages was too slow and pulled one of them. I told him to invis that, but I'm not 100% sure that they can see invisible targets. But the mage didn't press it anyway. I didn't risk pulling boss to this, but I guess I should have done it. The mage had no clue what to do on this boss. He blinked away from the ads and we didn't clear him. I wasn't mad. I mean, it's a +3. I don't expect much from people and hope that people don't expect much from me. There were a lot of ads, but at this difficulty they didn't do much. We easily killed the boss and I got +13 Rio. I started feeling like I had the route memorized, but I still decided to review the route to make sure I have it all in my memory. And now I was heading into the dungeons with affix. To not get surprised by it as I got before, I actually googled this week's affix and changed my talents to pick up this spell. I decided to skip +4 and get into +5. I'm confident that I can easily survive, and the route is almost there. The first pull is still a bit clumsy, but nonetheless I'm learning a lot. The DPS is good in this group, the pack melted quickly. One of the things I've noticed a while back is that whenever I get the Avengers Wrath reset, I don't see the indicator. 2 lines in the middle of the screen, the default UI thing. In each pack I always have to check the Vicora, whether I have the kick reset. I need to pay more attention to the cast that enrage the bears. I feel like I don't want to run holes without a DK in my group. It's a bit annoying that the anime is filling so slowly. Also, I'm not sure if as a tank I should dispel the affix from myself first, or it doesn't matter. I'm pinging left, where the small lads are. It's so inconvenient to drag the boss all the way there. I had to rethink the part of the route. The DH named Eddie Brock got Peter parked. He didn't run out of the boss's tongue buster. One eternity later, and I finally dragged the boss to the small lads. And I thought I could finally relax. But still, the boss died with the ads half dead. With lots of mobs, I can't get to the casters with my kick. The nameplates are too high up. By some miracle, gargoyles weren't pulled here, by the feared mobs. My team completely ignored the route and decided to run past gargoyles, where we had one more pack to kill. And they didn't even manage to skip them. I thought that the 2 gargoyles were enough for the count. I quickly opened MDT to check what percentage we need before the second boss, and it turned out that we didn't have enough. So I decided to pull the entire pack. Everyone knew what to do on this boss, so we easily killed it without any issues. We killed the last boss and I got to 1k Rio. Only 2700 left. I hit my group with a GG. I decided to skip +6 and get into a +7 right away, but I faced a lot of declines. I was even declined into +6. For the first time in my tanking journey, I spent 10 minutes looking for a party. I applied to another +6. I thought that I need to prove to people that I'm good for +7. I remember that I had the toy that transformed people into random WoW characters. I got turned into some orc. I thought that this time I pulled the mobs more efficiently, but I was wrong. The 2 mobs from the beginning were not attacking me at all. I decided to change the route a little bit and pull the small lads now, instead of with the boss. This time around, I waited for my teammates to get closer to the boss before I pulled it. Now I'm much more relaxed with the small lads dead. I don't need to drag the boss all the way there. I accidentally killed my healer. We were just running in the same direction. Once again, we pulled the gargoyle. All DPS players should stack near the fence next to me, I guess. I completely forgot about covering the rays, and we nearly died. It was my fault. I didn't cover a single ray, and one of my teammates ran to cover the ray in question. At the same time, I decided to cover it. During the intermission, I got hit by a column. For some reason, it did 0 damage to me. I got +16 Rio. And now, the ultimate test, +7. I quickly found a group. This run, we had a DK, but he probably forgot that he has 2 grips. Pulling the small ads here is a good idea, at least in +7. And of course the small feared ad pulled the gargoyle here. And I ran too close to this gargoyle. I started worrying about the timer with all these gargoyles. I got much better at placing the first boss for the intermission. For some reason, the hunter panicked at the sight of so many small ads and decided to use bloodlust here for completely no reason. And now, the small feared ad pulled the 2 gargoyles. I guess the universe heard me complaining about waiting for 20 seconds to skip them. Still, even with 3 gargoyles, we need more count. I decided to kill 2 casters here instead of the pack. The evoker almost killed us. He also fell asleep and didn't guide the ad to a lantern. We spent a while on the healing ad. We even had Hunter, but I don't know if every Hunter has the anti-heal. No issues with the boss, and I got my 4th dungeon down and plus 28 Rio. The good news is I haven't died a single time in Halls. I'm very proud. So, I'm halfway there in terms of learning the dungeons this season. I found that the most complicated part is to fight the procrastination and resistance. Once I got to work and study in normal, it only takes several hours to get to plus 7. In the next episode, I will attempt to learn the Gambit dungeon. So, like, subscribe, so that I will see you in the next one.